podcast was filmed live from undisclosed locations. There was no drug use in this program. If you have a weak heart, watch something else. If you're racist, bye. The jokes we may make are simply that, jokes. So if you can't handle us or you're too young, don't watch, because we definitely don't want to get banned. To sum it up, America, fuck yeah.
What's up, Dopeish fam? It's Becca. This week is our mental health week, so I just want to take a minute and tell you about my best friend, Jeff, who passed away 6 years ago in August from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in the chest. And this candle and this jersey and my memories are the only things I have left. So, if you're feeling suicidal or you think people won't miss you, you're wrong. Made this candle maybe 2 days after he died in 2014. I light it every night. It's on my dresser. I think about him all the time. He's often on my lock screen. Like, it doesn't get easier. People will miss you. People you didn't even know cared. And you know what? That's sad. So, if you're feeling suicidal, like you have nobody, you have somebody. Reach out. Call somebody on Dopeish. We'll talk to you. I would rather sit in a empty parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning and listen to your problems than attend your funeral. I don't want to attend any more funerals. So, and to the rest of us, those of us who aren't suicidal, check on your friends. Let them know you love them. Let them know someone's got their back. Be there. We have to have each other's backs.
What's happening, Dopeish family and friends? It's your boy, Moose here. I'm just going to run down some quick news headlines that have stuck out to me in the past week or so. Starting with the fact that there have been massive calls to boycott the company Goya after their CEO seemed to fawn support over President Donald Trump. Earlier today, I believe, President Trump took a picture at a desk in the White House with several Goya products on the desk next to him or in front of him with 2 thumbs up and a large smile. So I'm really pleased to hear that, you know, during the middle of a pandemic, our president has time to do that. Speaking of the pandemic, Japan has ended their state of emergency with only 850 deaths due to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. Some additional news: a man in Richmond, Virginia, is suing the Richmond Police Department as well as the city for the use of chemical agents used on him through a window. Basically, the long and short of it is he was inside of his home when this happened, and he said that he was recording the Richmond police seemingly spraying people on the street without provocation following a night of protests. And in the video that was released, he yells at the officers, who then spray him through his window. He's suing for $400,000, in total. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. A French pedophile faces death by firing squad in Indonesia for molesting 300 children and beating those who refused to have sex with him. Needless to say, this needs to happen post-haste, in my opinion. He's a 65-year-old man who was arrested in a hotel in Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia, where they discovered two underage girls in his room. Um, yeah, I don't have really much to say about that other than that's a sick motherfucker and he needs to be killed. Sorry, not sorry. Moving on. The Trump administration has stripped the CDC of control over coronavirus data. Basically, the hospitals have been ordered to bypass the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and send all patient information to a central database in Washington, which obviously raises questions about transparency with the government and this data. So, we'll see. We'll see how that works. Moving on again. A fired Veterans Affairs employee pleads guilty to multiple veteran homicides. This took place in Clarksburg, West Virginia. A former employee at the Lewis A. Johnson VA Medical Center has pleaded guilty. This is Retta Mays, aged 45, pled guilty to 7 counts of second-degree murder of Robert Edge Sr., Robert Kozel, Archie Edgel, George Shaw, Felix McDermott, and Raymond Golden. She pled guilty to 1 count of assault with intent to commit murder involving the death of veteran RRP, who died 2 weeks after the incident. Very sad, very troubling news indeed. Our veterans should be protected at all costs. That's just my personal opinion on it. You know, these people signed up to do a job. They did a job. Whether you disagree or agree with that job is not the point at hand here. But either way, they certainly shouldn't be murdered. One more thing two more things before I close this out. A police officer has been charged with manslaughter after he accidentally kills another police officer at his front door. Coincidentally enough, this police officer threatened to shoot protesters through the door of his home, which, in a way, is exactly what happened, except it wasn't a protester that he shot, it was a fellow officer. This happened in Arkansas with Mr. Calvin Salyers, a 33-year-old officer with the Alexander Police Department. Like I said, he is charged with manslaughter in the death of 36-year-old police officer Scott Hutton. It appears that Mr. Hutton was at the residence to retrieve a patrol car when he was fatally shot by his fellow officer. And investigators did make note of the fact that Salyers had posted online that he would, quote, shoot through the door, end quote, if protesters showed up at his home. Well, after enough terrible, horrible, and horrific news, I figured I'd end this with, some good news, something positive to reflect on. And that is in Santa Ana, California, a 94-year-old tamale vendor was brought to tears by a beautiful act of generosity from a total stranger. Jose Vela Ochoa, who goes by the nickname Don Joel, said he cried because he felt truly appreciated. And at first, the gift was a simple torta and a few bucks. That is when a 28-year-old Kenya Berrigan, who had a conversation with Don Joel, who said that that no one would hire him because of his age, and as a result, he had to work selling tamales for a woman who gives him money at the end of each day. And so this Good Samaritan raised raised more than $84,000 for this tamale vendor. They were able to purchase him a new wheelchair and a new pair of shiny black shoes. So that's pretty amazing if you ask me. Well, folks, that's all I got for you today. This is Moose. This is my Moose Minutes. Hope you guys got informed or something here. I will talk to y'all later and have a good rest of the week, guys. Love you.